Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to this stellar day. Welcome to Love Morning. I feel like I have so much to tell you, and unfortunately, I just woke up, so I'm still trying to get my thoughts together. But I'll start with that. I'm grateful I woke up. Grateful I got another day. Man, there's so many things on my to-do list that would have gone infinitely undone if I didn't wake up today. So many things I'd like to tell people. Like, I can't remember if I've told you this yet, but I'm so appreciative of the time and energy that you put into clicking and listening and participating and being a part of these Love Mornings, because it is one of the most consistent and impactful things in my life in terms of keeping me in touch with the gift of aliveness, the gift of consciousness, the gift of relationship, the gift of being in this body, having these thoughts, somewhere being transmitted into or channeled through this consciousness, this divine energy. Whee! Good morning. Happy Love Morning. And the song that we start with is not one that's got a history, because I like to make it up, and all the words are a mystery. The melody too is something that I make up on the spot. And I really hope you like it, but there's a good chance you're not. And if we keep singing this way and just charge to the end, then everybody come gather around, give your ears and have it a lend, because it's love morning. Love morning is love morning. Love morning is love morning. Love morning. The time to gather is now. Hooah! Good morning. Welcome to Love Morning. This is a daily gathering. Boy, my mind is not settled. I almost introduced myself and said, "Hi, I'm John." But then my thought will say, "I'm John Halcyon," or to say, "I'm John Halcyon Stin." And then my mind was like, you have been thinking a lot about what is your name going to be in marriage? What happens when Lisa and John get married? There was a long time that I did not use my last name. It was John Halcyon. And the only connection I have to my last name is my pride in my father. But my father's father made up that name. I don't come from a Stin lineage. Before my grandfather, our last name was Stein, Stein. And then he and his brothers each changed their names to different things. One was Stein, one was Stone, one kept it Stein, I think. Not a lot of written history about that, but so I've been thinking, well, do I, Lisa has a stage name and a legal name. I have a stage name, Halcyon, and a real name. Do we make up something new? Do we combine them? I mean, Halcyon is a type of bird. Lisa Littlebird is her name. That's why we call ourselves Lovebird Landing, where we live. But somehow John Lovebird doesn't sound like a real name. But maybe John Littlebird, that sounds kind of cool. John Halcyon Littlebird. Maybe we both just change our names to single words. So she removes Lisa and just goes by Littlebird, and I go by Halcyon. And our married name is an asterisk. Good morning, Juan. Good morning. Good to see you. I want to thank Juan for offering to reach out and say he was willing to be a helper for the Pink Ride this year. And I'm going to start some of my gratitude with that. And if you have got something grateful, please share it in the chat or send me a message or write it on your page and tag me. That would be cool too. I am so grateful and excited for the 2025. I lost connection. All right, let me just do a little internet test on myself and see what's going down here. I don't want to mess up this story. I mean, I never want to mess up a story, but I also don't want it not to be heard by you. Okay, let me try. I might lose connection for just a second. Let's try this, see if it helps. While I'm doing this, I want you to think about, in case you miss me, some unique special skills. What just happened? What? Did I just shrink? That shouldn't happen. So Kiri is going to lead a gratitude circle before the burn. Try it again. So Kiri is going to lead a version of our gratitude circles where people can get a chance to share either popcorn. No, take that back. And actually, let me see. This is the plan we're starting with because I trust them to take it. So there's gonna be a gratitude circle, and then Mingle is gonna give a talk. And now Mingle is an incredible speaker. She is she has a gift for sharing divine inspiration to groups of people. And so she's going to give a little talk, and Kiri and Sean will help lead the gratitude circle, and then the three of them are going to lead the pink ride. And they were so excited. So we had a meeting, and they were overjoyed. They'd even thought about it, but didn't want to ask me and be presumptuous. So I'm so grateful for this turn of events and this experience, because I didn't want the pink ride to stop happening just because I wasn't going. And there are times when I did call it Halcyon's Pink Ride. I was trying to leverage my Burning Man reputation. But it's the pink ride. And the one of the neat things for me that I'm grateful right now is the way I trust these people to take it on and lead, in the same way that I trust the people who are and have been leading Pink Heart. So these two gifts to the world and to Black Rock City that have been so important to me, the Pink Heart Camp and the Pink Ride, are now flying without me. I used to have the story that most of the projects that I work on fail to catch momentum, like they're kites with no wind, where as long as I keep running, I can keep the kite in the air. But the minute I stop promoting, then people stop showing up. But that's not the story anymore in my life. Gratitude circles happen whether I'm there or not. I love leading them, but if I'm not there, it still happens. Pink Heart, not does it just happen without me, it is thriving. Last year when I rode up on Pink Heart on Esplanade, beautiful prime placement at Burning Man, absolutely beautiful. And it was like spending all this time in love and stress and joy, watching and helping a child grow up. And then I rode up on the camp, and my child was like, "Hey, Dad, we graduated with honors from college, and we just got our dream job, and we're now productive, thriving people in the world." And I'm like, oh my God. So the Pink Heart gift continues to grow and spread into BRC in the world. And now the Pink Ride. The Pink Ride is going to thrive and grow. And one of the things that happened with Pink Heart over the 14 years that I was involved is that it was never my camp. I was a part of a co-founding group, and my initial drawings and visions and was kind of the base, and some of the ideas, and the principles behind it. Love more, fear less, float more, steer less is printed on our camp. And the principles of silly, sexy, sacred, and the pink and the loving and the inviting and the gifting, these are things that I helped to shape with the original people. And then every person that joins the camp, they bring their energy, they add their perspectives, their magic, their gifts, their talents, and then Pink Heart became something way more beautiful, more artistic, more and better than I ever could have if I was the shot caller and directing people how to execute the vision. And so as I was meeting with Mingle and Sean and Kiri, I was like, look, you get it. You know what the Pink Ride's about. I trust you. If you want to do it exactly the same, great. If you want to brainstorm with me about things that should and could change, great. But go forth and shine pink. In fact, there's already several suggestions that came up in our first gathering, our first meeting, that I'm like, yes, do that. Like one thing that I'd done in the past is when we ride to center camp and then we all get in a big circle, and then I break the circle and turn the circle into a line as we go into center camp. And while we're in a circle, I usually walk around the entire camp and I give everybody I love you, and look every single person in the eye. It's a big group. It takes a little bit of time. Everyone's standing out in the sun. But because not often, some of the people that come to Pink Ride, one of the reasons is so that they can have a chance to meet me and connect. And so that's one of the reasons I go around that circle, is to have that connection and in a selfish way to feel the presence of every person that made the effort to be a part of this special event for me. And so Kiri and Mingle are like, we want to set it up so that everybody sees everybody eye to eye. So a way of setting up multiple circles so that you spend time looking every other participant in the eye. And it takes some coordination. I actually did that at an opening ceremony at an event called Leyenda, probably 10 years ago now. And it took a lot of coordinating and helpers and practice to make it work. But they got it. They got a plan. And I'm like, yes, that is such a great evolution. So I am spilling over. I am oozing with gratitude for the Pink Ride, for Kiri, Sean, and Mingle, and for everyone who's ever participated in the Pink Ride, and for all those who will this year. I am definitely going to be riding my bike around wherever I am at that time, saying I love you to people and joining energetically from wherever I am. So thanks in advance for figuring out whatever pink outfit you're going to bring to the burn and getting yourself over to Pink Heart at noon on Thursday. You don't have to wear pink, but I think it's more fun when you're with a ribbon of pink that goes through the city saying I love you. Good morning, Jill. Jill is grateful for summer holidays. Internet asking if I'm going to the Burning Man. I am not. Not going. This is my first year skipping it since 1998. And I have a pretty long description of why on the YouTube channel, on Hug Nation YouTube channel. And then I've got a short 30-second, the main reason, that's on Instagram. Jill is grateful for summer holidays. Yay. Hello, Horse Rooster. Is that how you said it? Hi, Genevieve. Good morning, Gerbot. I was thinking about yesterday, Gerbot. Juan was reflecting on what was talking about with names and what's my married name going to be, saying, your name is not important. Your love can't be be labeled or defined. True love is the most beautiful gift. I'm glad you two found it. Just look into each other's eyes often and just know, wow. Hallelujah. However, the name situation is a choice to be made. Even if the choice is neither one of us change our names, which that could be the case, it is one of the many choices involved with a wedding. And since I am a lifestyle artist, I would like to make a decision like that from an artistic place, from an open-hearted place. I do need to remember that I go through lots of phases, you know, like I've been Halcyon for longer than I've been going to Burning Man. So Halcyon since 1995, I think, 4. And I'm frequently thinking of cool new names that I'd like to go by, but you can't just keep changing your name, because the purpose of a name is identification, or one of the purposes of a name. Although I'll tell you, my favorite name, and one that when Amy was thinking about what she wanted to name Asher, the name that I threw into the hat was Shadrach. One of my favorite biblical stories is of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And I think Meshach reminds me too much of Horshack from Welcome Back, Kotter. And Abednego just sounds like a tough playground name. But Shadrach, you can go by Shadrach. But that's kind of a first name. I don't think it works as a last name. John Shadrach? No. We could hyphen, but because I've never been super attached to Stin, maybe I just combine my first two names and Johnston, spelled with a Y. Halcyon Johnston and Lisa Littlebird Johnston. Genevieve says Princess Consuela Banana Hammock. Is that your official name? I should say that, Commander Happy Pants is another name that I go by. So maybe I fully embrace my official love ambassador title of Commander Happy Pants. Maybe hyphenated? Commander John Happy Pants Littlebird. I think we're on to something. Gerbot is grateful my dad is healing and for a mountain ride on the wheel I'm just about to head out on. That sounds rad. And I know you have been so good about offering to teach me how to ride an electric unicycle. And for many years, it was just an automatic no, because for one wheel, as well as stilts, as well as fire performing, because I knew myself and I knew the frequency of my intoxication, especially at events. So I just had a rule in myself: don't do anything that if you do intoxicated, you're going to hurt yourself, or has a good chance. So just don't even do it. But man, it sure looks cool. And I'm glad I know you, who's super into it. Gerbot says, also grateful to be going to a vintage computer fair at the Computer History Museum in Mountain View after the ride. Very excited for that. Oh, sweet. I have such fond memories of my Commodore 64. I had the VIC-20 before that, but not as many fond memories of that. Commodore 64 had some fun games. Jumpman Jr. is a game I played more than any other in my life, and it's one of those games that it was a joystick, like an Atari joystick on the Commodore 64, and I don't think I ever talked to anybody except my brother who played it, and we played it a lot. It's the only game I've ever been into. Good morning, Jim. Jim says, grateful for Vivian and me. Unless you meant your brother, said, and you, brother. And if you're grateful for my brother, Jim, my brother's name is Jim. So, Jim, I am grateful for you and for my brother, Jim, and for Vivian, too. Thanks for saying hello. Thank you, everyone who's sharing their gratitudes. Who's got some more gratitude to share? And have I talked to you since my second trip to Oregon? I got to tell that story. So if you got a minute or two, stick around for my story. And if you got to go soon, let me know, and I will try to get to the story as soon as possible. High Noon says, grateful for shrimp and fish giving me a pedicure. Shrimp and fish giving me a pedicure in the marsh as I took the time to be present with the sadness I was feeling. Big open spaces of Mother Earth are healing. Go paddleboarding. Wow, I really appreciate the active choices you make in your life, High Noon, for your physical and mental health and growth. Oh, Genevieve was clarifying that was Phoebe's name that she changed. Right. Phoebe changed her name to, no, I don't have it here in front of me. Princess Honeypot, something, yeah. That was great. And then didn't some of the other characters decide to change their name, or her boyfriend changed her name too? Moose Rooster. Thanks, Genevieve. My brain is mostly functional. My memory for specific words, not so good. Concepts I get. Concepts I'm pretty quick with. But exact memorization, names, dates, exact quotes, not always my strength. In fact, I realized I've been quoting George Carlin, and I'm totally wrong. So the quote that I said the other day, that humans are amazing, humanity is horrific, that's a John quote. I do have the quote. I found the quote from George Carlin. He said it many different ways in different writings and stage, but this is what he said. People are wonderful. I love individuals. I hate groups of people. I hate a group of people with a common purpose, because pretty soon they have little hats and armbands and fight songs and a list of people they're going to visit at 3 a.m. So I despise groups of people, but I love individuals. Every person you look at, you can see the universe in their eyes if you're really looking. Testify. George Carlin. The more I've learned about him, the more brilliant and heartbreaking as this brilliant man came to a conclusion like that about the world, that there's so much hypocrisy and injustice. But at his core, the reason why he was so angry is because he was a dreamer and a lover. Jim says, I look ready for Kundalini yoga today. You know, and this one at least has a doodly bopper. I do have a more like a form-fitting cap that I've been using because I'm in a interesting hair period. Interesting hair in the same way of may you live in interesting times way. And with my beard and the cap and wearing neutral clothes, I get a lot of, you got an Osho vibe going on right now. I don't mind being mistaken for a holy man. I'm a post-pornography ordained minister, gratitude zealot, who, in my mind, that's a holy man's path. Kirvat says, I like Pope as a new playa name. You're looking like a pope these days. Also goes with the whole channeling Grandpa Caleb theme. I mean, Pope does have a Catholic bent. And I like where you're going with this. I just, Catholic, and then there's so many reasons why I don't want to be associated with Catholic. And just the general impact of guilt that has infected billions of people over the years. All the child molesting. But I'm happy to work on it. Gervat says, good point about the intoxication. Good rule. In the future, that won't be an issue. Right. So maybe it's time. Although my body is so much more fragile now. I have a physical therapy appointment coming up. I've got two shoulder things that I really need to feel working better. And I really need to begin a old people workout routine, like something that is intended to just maintain my functionality and my flexibility so that if I try something new, the weaknesses of the little muscles around other big muscles don't get torn or injured. And I got to tell you, that awareness, that knowledge of what my body requires if I'm going to maintain functionality in this body, it's a source of a lot of uncomfortable, unpleasant, and suffering thoughts for me. I, for decades, have been lucky enough to have a body that is no complaints. Genevieve says, I am grateful for medical advances like colonoscopies. I know it sucks, but that allows me to stay colon cancer free. Get your butt checked, people. I had a colonoscopy late last year, I think. And my colonoscopy was not nearly as unpleasant as I hear people describe it. I mean, I think it's good to be prepared for it not to be fun. Especially it's like a multi-day preparation if you've never done one. Anyone never done one? But in preparation, since they're going to put a camera and investigate your deep insides and look for polyps and other things that they might be warning signs. And the diet, it's not like eat super healthy. It's eat white foods and nothing with grain, nothing with seeds, nothing that could stick in there and that would show up when they're looking. So it's like ice cream was a big part of my diet. I'm like, doctor's orders. And then the last, 24 hours, no, like 12 hours, you have to drink this huge jug of liquid that gives you diarrhea and cleans you the fuck out. So if you have an aversion to diarrhea in the same way some people have an aversion to vomiting, you are going to hate it. But I don't mind a productive diarrhea, especially if I know it's going to happen and I just know I'm not going to leave the house and be on the road. If you were in that last period of time and you were, trying to run some errands and you're like, that would suck. And then the procedure itself, they drug you up. So although I don't think I was drugged up enough because I remember them asking questions and I remember that parts of it, and most people I don't think remember it. All right. Gerbot's going to roll out. I'll catch the story on the archive. Well, I imagine because I just read that comment that you're gone, but if you see the archive, love you, Gerbot. Have an incredible day. I will tell it as soon as I get through these last comments that are on the screen right now. Genevieve says, I am grateful for the post office at Burning Man at Black Rock City. I love mailing people at the Burn, but I'm so excited when I get mail. I send so much mail from the Burn, it just fills me up with joy. That's something that maybe I should put some energy in, is doing some letters, which I've never done. Honeymoon says, "Thank you, John. I'm choosing to not people please as much. It is slowly moving towards healthier and healthier inner me. I had to skip the men's group, but it was for the best." Yay, Gerbot. Good morning, Chris. Chris says, "Grateful for connection with other artists from around the country at a mini conference I held Tuesday through Thursday at my art studio." You hosted a mini conference for artists? That's awesome. Thanks, Chris. Genevieve says, "The prep sucks. I took the poop juice with the iced tea chaser. It was fine. I take the Twilight K and it was fine." Chris says, "Yeah, you drink the stuff and then your colon goes into the future, eliminating food you haven't even eaten yet." You really do get reminded that we are a tube. We are a tube. Stuff goes in, stuff comes out. There's a whole bunch of elaborate systems around that tube, but in essence, we're a tube. Okay. What was the story I was going to tell you? Going to Oregon, yes. So, let's see. I wonder if I could. No, I'm not going to do that. I've actually got a theory on maybe there's something I could do with this. Actually, no. You know what? Why are you making things more difficult, John? Are you asking me seriously, or are you just... I'm not really asking. I'm just... Turn a phrase, I guess. Okay, well, you said you're going to tell a story. Maybe tell the story. Bro, I would if you weren't asking me questions. I wasn't... Just start. Okay. Okay. So all last week, Lisa and I were in Mosier, Oregon at a retreat. Beautiful people, beautiful music, beautiful conversations, beautiful environment. It was fantastic. And we were rushing to get to our flight home because it's so hard to say goodbye to so many incredible friends. And so we were kind of rushing out the door, saying our last goodbyes. I helped pack Lisa's stuff so that she could have a little bit more time. We drive. It's normally about an hour drive. It was traffic time. It took us like an hour and 40 minutes. So we debated having me drop her off at the gate so that she could check our luggage in time, because you have to have your luggage checked an hour before the flight. And then we're like, no, we can make it. We can make it. So we're rushing, putting the car. We actually borrowed someone's car and left it in parking with a key. And then friends of ours, were going to arrive at the airport, and we told them where to find the car, and then they were going to drive it back home. Okay. And as we're unpacking the car in the parking garage and taking a picture of where our car is so we can send it to our friends, unpacking the car, and Lisa goes, "Did you pack my guitar?" I did not pack her guitar. She did not pack her guitar. Now, one thing that I've learned being madly in love with a professional musician is that a guitar is like a pet. Not all guitars are the same. You have a relationship with it. It's nuanced, and she needs the guitar. I mean, she could handle it for a couple days. She's got a backup guitar, but she has some performances and some events coming up fairly soon where she needs a guitar. So we need to quickly figure out how we're going to get that guitar, like really quickly. Like if we're not going to get on this flight, we got to decide now. And so we think maybe one of us stays and drives an hour and a half or 2 hours with more traffic back to Mosier, and then tries to get on a flight later tonight. Do we fly home and then figure out when we can fly back? Now, another part of the story is that on Wednesday night, so we left Monday night, with the airport Monday night. 2 days later on Wednesday, this band, Medicine Rising, is having an album release party in Oregon, in Portland. that Lisa had intended to be there until the date was set. The date wasn't set until May, and by that time she had already scheduled choir practice on Tuesday of this week and a full day client session on Thursday of this week. And a client on Wednesday. Thursday, all day client. So she had to choose to not be at that show. And the album release that's happening, she's on the album. She sings on half the songs on this album. So she was already really bummed that she wasn't going to be there. It's like, well, maybe she could fly back up. But then she's in the middle of a lot right now. Big responsibilities, the choir, clients, retreats. And so it's just adding one more like frantic thing and having to see cancel. And she talked to the client that she had on Thursday and saw if they could reschedule, and they couldn't. So I'm like, Lisa, I'll go get it. We'll come home Monday night. I will fly up Wednesday in the afternoon. I'll go to the concert because I'd love to be there and see our friends play. And I'll fly back the next morning with her guitar, no problem. And she did not like that answer. Mostly because, like many of us, it's hard to ask a big favor. It's hard to receive a big gift. It's like, I can't. She's like, I can't ask you to do that. I can't. And I'm like, no. I want to. Even if there wasn't a guitar, I would love an adventure to fly up and see our friends play. And most of the people, many of the people at the retreat that we were at were also going to be at this show. I'm like, and besides, my schedule has gaps in it. There's a good chance that on some day, at some portion of Wednesday, I would be hanging out watching Netflix. So I'll watch Netflix on a plane instead. It's really easy. And she's like, And I was like, Lisa, if we were at Burning Man and I was running a camp and there was all sorts of crisis happening, all sorts of things happening, and I was just so overwhelmed with all these responsibilities, and then I had to go bike all the way across Playa and find something to pick something up, or all the way on the type of Playa, and it was going to take most of the day to do it. If I asked you, would you do it? She said, yeah. I go, I know you would. So let me do this for you. So it's packing for a single night is fun. I've done this in the past where I went to San Francisco DCOM and dressed on the plane in full Burning Man gear, got off the plane, went straight to the event, and then crashed on someone's couch and flew back in the morning. That time I went without even knowing where I was going to crash. I was just as I was talking to people, hey, do you have a couch? It all worked out. So I fly up, and then when I told our gratitude circle that I was going to do that, people mentioned, Ava lives in Portland, who is a frequent participant in our gratitude circles, but I've never met in person. So we reach out. Turns out there's a solid hour between my landing and the show opening. So I get to meet Ava, and we have this awesome in-person hug and talk and conversation and connection. And then she comes with me to the show. I had such a good time at the show. I was like, I'm enjoying this, but I'm not dancing. I danced, great conversation, great smile. Then I went with the band to their after party, cool down and conversation. And after party for this group of people means coconut water and healthy snacks. And so I got to have more awesome conversations, meet more awesome people. Got up in the morning and flew home with a guitar, which I love walking through an airport with a guitar because I feel like a rock star. And I don't even play an instrument. And the whole time, every part of it, the flight, the concert, I knew that this was all in service to my beloved. I was so appreciative of the opportunity to give her this gift. So I got home and I took out her guitar and I like placed it on our couch, like it was resting after a long journey, so that she could see it when I wasn't there and get a kick. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to do something nice for Lisa. It was great. It was win, 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 win. So that's my story of how I spent my Wednesday. Hello, Marta, if you're still here. Marta says, happy you're staying healthy. Thank you. Me too. Me too. There are a lot of benefits, such as having so much clear-headed, beautiful, quality connection time with my beloved Lisa. And a lot of the people in this Oregon community have known Lisa for a very long time. So I got to meet people who love her so much and know me through her, and then hearing from her, either she's talked about me or they've just heard that Lisa's found her person and she's so happy. And so it's a really fun way to start a conversation when someone thanks me for the way I love Lisa. Like, my pleasure. Good morning, Julie. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you, Moose Rooster. Heinen says, I love that after party and the insight of the story. And I do think that there is an insight to this that we should all just maybe chew on for a little bit. And that is how important it is to receive gracefully. You know, I think many of us here are Burning Man connected in some way, or familiarity with Burning Man and the 10 principles. And the principle that has been the most impactful in my life is gifting. And one of the most least understood parts of gifting is how important receiving is. You know, if you cooked your lover an incredible meal and you insisted on paying for the ingredients, or you insisted like, okay, well, I owe you one. I owe you one. That robs them of that incredible feeling of being able to receive pleasure from the pleasure they give you, from having joy from your joy. There's a significant shift in my life when I realized that if someone I loved needed help, it wasn't an annoyance that was taking away from the stuff I needed to do. It was a priority opportunity for me to feel good. I know that if I can make someone feel better, it makes me feel better. If I can make someone that I truly love feel better, that makes me feel even better. So we need to remember to say yes when things are offered to us. Trust that people won't offer it. Or if you can read it, sometimes you can kind of read and say, okay, this person is making this offer out of obligation or out of avoiding awkwardness. And so maybe I'll say, you know what? I'll take a Lyft or I'll take an Uber. No problem. I don't want to, make you drive an extra hour in rush hour, but I really appreciate it. And if they say, no, seriously, no. I mean, it's nothing. I'd be happy to. Then you go, okay, great. That would mean a lot. Thank you so much. And really kind of practicing the art of receiving in a way that allows the other person to feel gifting, to feel good about the kindness that they're doing. It's it's the least developed component of the gifting cycle of magic. Marta says, loving your adventure, love to Lisa. I will pass it on. Moose Rooster says, I say that about gifting at Black Rock City. Giving is wonderful, but receiving is something we forget as adults. Yeah. And, it's a good way to receive more. If you're a fun person to give to, then people love continuing to be giving to you because it makes them feel good. I think I'm pretty good at receiving. I think I'm pretty good at showing appreciation. Although I definitely still have voices that I do not want to be a burden, And I'm at a place in my life now where I have more resources, so I will often, not reach out to friends, and I'll just take an Uber to my flights or wherever. But I asked a friend if they would pick me up from the airport yesterday because I knew that they were willing. And then they had a meeting scheduled and they had to cancel. Okay, great. I wasn't screwed because it's that would have been awesome to get a ride and save $40 and talk and hang out with a friend. And it all worked out. Hunun says, I need to work on that one and also expressing my needs without feeling judgment. This is this massive gift of consent culture is when everyone understands that consent and asking is the healthiest, most effective way to communicate, then so much more is possible. We have ask versus guess culture, and you can look that up, ask versus guess, and there's a lot of people who've written about this idea that many of us were raised under guess culture. And so you try to guess what the other person's response is going to be, and then you only ask if you think that it will be a yes. So I wouldn't ask a friend for a ride to the airport if I thought it would be difficult for them, or if saying yes would make them obligated, or because people in guest cultures are trained to say, if someone says, I need a ride to the airport, you go, okay, you say yes, and then you're like, God, it's gonna be such a hassle, but okay, sure, you need it, I'll give it to you. But ask culture, it's a genuine ask. It's like, do you have space to give me a ride to the airport? They are trusting in and hoping that you genuinely answer, actually, that would be a pretty big inconvenience. I'd rather not. Great, thank you for taking care of your needs. I look forward to next time we cross paths. And if you can trust the other person, and this has to be built up in relationship, it's something that Lisa and I actively work on, because I think both of us at times in our life have been more of guess cultures, where you in a guess culture, asking for something is presumptuous and it can be kind of rude. It's like you're putting someone on the spot. But that model, the more you study it and look at all it, that is worse. It's worse than asking. Clearly, boldly asking for what you want is the best way to do it. And receiving the no with gratitude is how it works. Because then you can get to places of connection and exchange that you never would have before. What if you're embarrassed to ask for something that the other person would love to give you? The ask never happens. The gifting never happens. The gifter doesn't feel the joy of gifting. The asker doesn't get the thing. I learned this first or not first, but I learned a practice around this at a cuddle party. Well, actually, it was a play party, so it was a sexy party. But they do this training where you have a partner and you ask for something and the other person says no, no matter what. You say, hey, could I touch your boobs? And they say no. And the response is, thank you for taking care of your needs and boundaries. And then the other person says, but if you'd like, you could rub my neck. You go, great. Let me rub your neck. I might not be, if you're a cuddle trainer and I messed it up, please correct me. But that idea allows, like, what if, and this, I've seen this happen, at play parties where someone, and I practiced this. I said, oh, can I say this out loud? Maybe I won't confess to this, but not something totally crazy kinky, but like something that involved multiple people. And I said, I would love it if, people, I had this fantasy of being like held down by a bunch of people. And I asked, and a number of people said, sure, I'd love to help you with that. Because old me would have said, what if I ask? And people are like, oh my God. And people, like the gall of saying that or asking for that. But that's so fucked up. The ask is truthful communication. It requires truthful responses so that there's no energy, there's no judgment, there's no, how dare they? It's just like, no. Good luck finding whatever it is that you need. Whether it's another glass of lemonade or someone calling you a little worm while you're making out. Juan says, that's my gift. Will you receive? A 6-hour trip? Didn't fully follow what you mean by that's your gift. Sorry, because there's a delay. There's when I'm speaking, by the time it comes through to YouTube and Facebook, it's like over a minute delay. So sometimes the responses, you got to give me a little context if this can be helpful. Heinun says, I'm learning to find more people that are willing to give each other grace and gratitude for boundaries and needs. Those are the beings we need to embrace. And I think, I see younger people now who are more ingrained in consent culture, and it's so much healthier. I didn't ask a woman out until I was on a reality game show, when I was 21, 22 on Studs. I was so afraid of the response being like, are you serious? No. I thought that asking a question that got a no was cause for embarrassment and self-judgment. And I still struggle with that. It is definitely an edge. But imagine if you're trained and you have a community where asking and trusting the no's is just the norm. I can't think of how many women over the years I would have loved to have asked out on a date and I didn't because I had too much fear of a no. It all worked out perfectly because when the most direct I've ever asked someone out was when I asked Lisa out. Anybody else want to share any more gratitude before we head out? Oh my gosh, it's 10 o'clock. I've been here for an hour? Holy moly. Well, that... Maybe I'll look at this archive and see, what were you talking about for so long? Well, I am grateful for this practice. I am grateful for a easeful trip to Portland and back, thanks to Alaska Airlines, and thanks to Ava, who met me for acai bowls and then joined me to enjoy and dance at the Medicine Rising concert. So you should go to Medicine Rising on Bandcamp and Spotify. Follow them on Spotify. That's helpful to them. Lisa is on the recordings, many of them. I am grateful for how warm and welcomed and appreciative Lisa was about my trip. And I'm grateful that she trusted me and me and us enough to say, yes, okay, I will let you do this significant favor for me. Win, 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 win. So wherever you are, let's give ourselves a squeeze, appreciating our bodies, appreciating this now moment in our bodies. Everything that is functioning without us giving it a single moment of attention. All the perfect systems of regulation and digestion and circulation. Grateful for all the people who communicate with us clearly, all the people who have patience, all the people who can listen and direct us and help us to become better in our truthful thoughts, truthful self-awareness, or truthful communication. Grateful for all the things in our lives that we sometimes take for granted. May we notice them more and more. And may we be grateful for all the people we're connected to through online, through our families, through our friends, through our communities. Just be grateful to be a part of so many beautiful, beautiful, beautiful lives. Let's take a deep breath in and squeeze. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all of us here, thanks for being here for this love morning. I love you. It's Friday? Man, I tell you, flying home on Monday, flying all day Wednesday, coming back Thursday, it's messed with my noggin. I was not thinking it. Well, TGIF to everyone. Bye-bye.